Hey everyone, it's Julian Gordon here, and it is day 2 of the Build Momentum 28-day challenge. We actually skipped day 1 because it was a Sunday, and we are not working on weekends, and so I'm going to lead by example when it comes to that. So today we're going to talk about success. How do you define success, and how do you measure it? You see, oftentimes when I am speaking on large stages or talking to anyone really, and these are people who are ambitious, who are smart, I ask them, how many of you have defined success before? And the reality is that many people have not defined success. We're all running and chasing and pursuing this thing called success. But then if you ask people, have you written down a single sentence definition of success before? They oftentimes haven't, right? So then where are we racing to? I like to equate it to being in your home driveway, plugging in your home address to point A on the GPS, plugging nothing into point B, pulling out of the driveway and then driving extremely fast in any direction, hoping that one day you crash into success. And that makes absolutely no sense, right? We can actually be more intentional by taking a moment to pause and get clear on what is our definition of success? What is it that we want and where are we trying to go? And while it seems simple, how do you define success and what do you want? Those are simple questions, but they're very hard to answer. So today, that's what we're going to address. So we are on day 2 around defining success. Just a quick recap, there are 20 days left in the campaign until 2017, and then there's 27 days left until our New Year event on January 17th. We are at $744 for build, and that is about 6% of our $12,000 goal. So what I need you to do is open up your New Year guide, whether you have the PDF version on your desktop or you have the physical version, which has been mailed to you, and turn to page 23. We're focused just on 23 today. And we're going to talk about definition of success. So while the question is simple, how do you define success? It is a very difficult question to answer. I like to revisit my definition of success every year. And so the way I define success is the alignment of my purpose, passion, and profit. Am I being who I want to be? Am I doing what I want to do? And do I have enough of what I need to continue being who I want to be and doing what I want to do? That's my single sentence definition of success. And so I measure that by my gratitude journal. In terms of my being, I measure that with my gratitude journal. As many of you know, I've been keeping a gratitude journal since April 6, 2011. I've documented over 15,000 moments of gratitude. And as I'm moving through life and seeing how much is happening for me that wasn't caused by me, that's how I know that I'm being who I want to be and who I'm meant to be. In terms of my passion, I measure that by lives touch. Actually, in years prior, I used to measure by lives touch. Oh, look at my email list. I've touched this many thousands lives, but I'm actually shifting my definition to lives transformed because I'd rather transform 100,000 lives than to simply touch 1,000,000 lives. And that's just a personal preference. There's some people who just want to be out there and be as big as possible and say, yeah, I touched all these people. For me, I'm actually more committed to transformation than touching people's lives. And that's how I measure my passion or my doing. And then finally, there is my having, and I measure that by bread broken. That's food and financial. As many of you know, I love hosting potluck dinners at my home in Brooklyn, New York. And then in terms of breaking bread, that's also talking about creating money with other people. That's creating value, right? Putting money in people's pockets and creating value for my particular company. And so that's how I measure my success. The moments in my gratitude journal, how many lives I'm transforming, and how much bread I'm breaking with other people. And so I'm inviting you all to do the same. And for many of you, this will be the first time that you've ever defined success for yourselves. You've been going to school, been working at these jobs, climbing this ladder, stepping out into entrepreneurship, pursuing this idea of success without it really being a crystal clear idea. And so I invite you to be serious about this and write this down. Don't just think about it in your head and let the thoughts bounce around like ping pong. No, actually get something on paper. And once it's on paper, then you can actually edit it until it comes out as something that really resonates with you and makes your spirit and your being come to life. So I'm encouraging you to write down your single sentence definition of success, and then I want you to come up with 3 ways that you can measure it. So for instance, a lot of people say, oh, I want to be rich. That's one way I want to measure it. Okay, but how do you measure rich? All right, there's many different ways to measure wealth. You can measure it by your net worth. You can measure it by your salary. You can measure it by your income, right? Because salary and income are 2 different things. Salary, you may get being paid $100,000 a year, but if your expenses are 80, then your income is only $20,000 a year. You can measure it by your passive income. You can measure it by your assets, right? There's all these different ways to measure rich, and so you have to define that. Don't just say I want to be rich, but actually come up with the number of what rich looks like for you. A lot of people also have family in their definition. I want to care for my family, etc. So, what does that look like? And what I invite people to do when it comes to family is start creating what I call a negative scoreboard. And the negative scoreboard means listing all the important events that you missed in your family's life. Right? Missed a graduation because I was working. I missed this because of this. Now, missing one off events is okay. But if that becomes a chronic problem, then you know you're not actually living out family the way you want to. And, I'm guilty of this. When I was early in my marriage, and when I had my daughter, I was engaged in a lot of workaholism, and so I was missing things that were important because I was so caught up in work. Now, the psychology for me was that, oh, I'm working hard for my family, but work was the very same thing that was taking me away from my family. And so, as I started to get really real about how present I was being as a husband and as a father, I had to start and using the negative scoreboard. I had to start thinking differently about how I spend my time, especially when I'm home. Right? I can be working hard when I'm at work, but when I'm home, I got to learn how to be present, and it's something I'm still working on. The intimacy part, I'm good at income and impact, but the intimacy part is my weakness, and that's what I'm growing and developing. And then finally, a lot of people put happiness or content in their definition of success. But how do you measure happy? Right? It's this very vague idea, and I say be more specific, and they'll replace it with another vague synonym. So, what I encourage you to do, if happiness is one of your metrics, then I encourage you to use your calendar, use the calendar in your New Year guide, or just go print it out from online for each month, right? And put it on your bathroom mirror, and every single day, either when you go to sleep, just before you go to sleep, or when you wake up, draw a happy face that represents how you feel. And over time, you're going to start to see patterns in terms of how you feel each day. And if you're seeing a lot of unhappy faces, then the truth is that you're probably unhappy, right? And for a lot of people, they might see unhappy faces on weekdays, and then no happy faces, and then happy faces on weekends. But you have to look at that from a large perspective and ask yourself, will 2/7 ever outweigh 5/7? And if you do the math, it's never going to be the case. You can't be unhappy 5 days a week, be happy 2 days a week, and expect to be happy overall in terms of your life. It just doesn't work out. And so I'm encouraging you to do page 23. It's powerful. It's where really all of this work begins. We have to get clear on what you want, and then from there we design your life and your year accordingly. And so I really encourage you to do that. This is going to kick us off. Once you have clarity on that, then your year starts to unfold. Your goals start to unfold from clarity around your definition of success. So again, this is day 2 of the Build Momentum Challenge. I hope that this video has inspired you, and I can't wait to see your results. Please share your definitions of success in the Facebook group. I would love to see them and give you some feedback and coaching. And as I coach other people in the Facebook group, you'll start to see where there's opportunity to make your definition of success even stronger. All right. So with that, I want to say thank you so much, and I wish you the best.